Okay, picture this. The absolute peak of engineering, the Ferrari 499p, the car that brought Ferrari back to victory at Le Mans, pure physical machine. And now somehow it's being linked directly to a digital asset, a token. So today, our mission is, well, to cut through the noise, the marketing spin, and really dive deep into the source material we have on Ferrari's pretty ambitious new digital token strategy.
Yeah, it's a fascinating development.
You know, Ferrari already dipped its toes in the water last year. They started accepting crypto, Bitcoin, Ether, USDC for car purchases. First in the US, now Europe too.
Right. That was sort of phase one. Crypto as payment. Straightforward enough.
Exactly. But this new announcement, this is phase two, and it seems much, much more significant. We're talking actual tokenized access and, well, complex ownership ideas.
And what's really interesting here, looking at the sources, this isn't just some basic NFT drop like we've seen before. Not at all. We're analyzing the specifics around this Token Ferrari 499p announcement. And crucially, what it signals for, well, maybe the entire luxury asset class moving towards tokenization. The why behind it is key. It's about programmable exclusivity, using Web3 tech, backed by a brand that's fundamentally analog. That's the big story for the Web3 space this quarter, I think.
Okay, let's get straight into it then. This digital key, the Token Ferrari 499p. Who exactly is this for, and what does it actually unlock? What's the prize?
Well, the main function, reading through the details, is exclusivity. Pure and simple. Ferrari's launching this in partnership with an Italian fintech company, Conio.
Conio, okay. Are they a big player?
They're significant in Italy, yeah. And their role seems critical here. They're likely handling the tricky bits, the regulatory side, the secure wallet infrastructure, the tech standards, especially crucial for an EU-based project dealing with asset-linked tokens.
Makes sense. And the access itself sounds incredibly tight.
It's extremely. The sources say this token is exclusively for members of Ferrari's own Hyperclub.
The Hyperclub, right. That's like their top-tier clients.
Exactly. Reportedly only about 100 people worldwide.
Yeah.
Absolute top clients. So the token basically acts as their digital membership card for this specific purpose. And it allows these members, and only these members, to trade the token among themselves. A kind of closed ecosystem.
A closed loop. Interesting.
Yeah, that closed loop trading is one aspect, but the real utility, the main draw, is what that token gives you access to. It's the right to participate in a super exclusive auction for the actual Ferrari 499p race car.
The actual car, the Le Mans winner.
The very one, the machine that brought Ferrari back to the top at Le Mans after, 50 years? That car is a piece of history. The token is your digital ticket just to get a chance to bid on it.
Wow, okay. That's definitely a grand prize. Now, here's a detail that maybe flags a bit of risk. The timeline. This whole token-driven auction, it's planned to kick off with the start of the 2027 World Endurance Championship season.
That's right, 2027.
So we're talking about a plan, a high-profile one, but it's got a 3-year runway, which I guess gives us plenty of time to see how the details shake out.
And that timeline, 3 years out, it does give everyone some breathing room.
Yeah.
But it also highlights the scale of this shift. We're really seeing luxury brands move beyond just, accepting crypto like digital cash. Now they're actively designing these bespoke, tokenized ownership structures, complex digital auction mechanics, tailored for these incredibly high-value, illiquid, physical things.
And when you think about who this targets, it feels like smart marketing, doesn't it? This structured digital layer.
Oh, definitely.
It seems aimed squarely at that younger, maybe more tech-native, wealthy group of people who might already hold significant crypto assets.
Exactly. Ferrari's meeting them where they are, connecting their digital portfolios to their, physical passions, like a classic Ferrari race car. And this is where the signal gets, I think, disproportionately large. When a small digital-first company does tokenization, it's kind of expected. But Ferrari is inherently about physical craftsmanship, history, scarcity, and analog-first brand.
Yeah.
When they lean into Web3 utility like this, it lends massive validation to the whole real-world asset, or RWA, tokenization narrative.
Right. It says even these ultra-exclusive physical assets can be managed, or at least accessed, digitally.
Precisely. Without losing that core exclusivity. You could almost argue Ferrari itself is a non-fungible entity, right? It's brand value. So them tokenizing access to their history like this, it's maybe the most compelling RWA case study we've seen yet.
Okay, so thinking bigger picture, could this structure be a blueprint? The whole setup, custodial wallets, private trading among a vetted group, the token-gated auction at the end?
I think that's a real possibility. It addresses some key challenges.
How so?
Well, think about traditional public crypto exchanges. They grapple with KYKML compliance, huge volatility, constant regulatory uncertainty. By creating this Hyperclub walled garden, Ferrari essentially makes its own mini marketplace. Highly compliant, pre-vetted members only.
Ah, I see. It sidesteps the need for the token to be listed publicly right away.
Exactly, which makes it a potentially pragmatic model for other high-value, illiquid assets where exclusivity is paramount. Think fine art, rare collectibles, maybe even certain types of real estate.
Okay, but hang on. If exclusivity is the whole point, isn't the lack of easy liquidity part of that value? If only 100 people can trade this token, are we really expecting like a vibrant secondary market for the token itself?
That's a really sharp question.
Or is it just a fancy, high-tech raffle ticket to get into the auction room?
You've hit on the core tension. Realistically, the primary value here probably isn't liquidity in the usual crypto sense. It's access control, membership. The token guarantees you're in the club, and being in the club guarantees you the right to bid. In this context, maybe low liquidity is actually a feature, not a bug. It reinforces the scarcity.
Okay, that makes sense for the pre-auction phase.
Right, but they still need to figure out and communicate the economic value proposition of holding that token after the auction is done. And that leads us right into the potential risks here.
Right, okay, let's pivot to that. We need some critical thinking.
Yeah.
Any project this ambitious, 3 years out, involving assets worth millions, it's bound to have potential pitfalls. What are the big ones we should be watching?
Number one, I'd say, is regulatory risk, especially with Ferrari being based in the EU. Issuing a token that's directly tied to an auction for a unique, high-value physical asset. Well, it potentially raises some complex questions about securities classification.
How so? Is it just a service token for the auction, or is it something more?
That's the question. Is it just a prepaid service, like you said? Or could regulators see it as representing some kind of eventual, maybe fractional claim or investment related to the car itself? That's where it gets tricky.
And you mentioned the EU. That brings MiCA into play, doesn't it? Can you briefly explain MiCA for listeners who might not follow EU regulation that closely?
Sure. MiCA stands for the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation. It's basically the EU's big comprehensive rulebook aiming to standardize crypto regulation across all member states. It's coming into full force soon. Because Ferrari is an EU company using an EU fintech partner for a token linked to a real-world asset, they absolutely need to navigate MiCA. They'll need to ensure this token either fully complies with MiCA's rules, maybe as an asset reference token, or is structured very carefully to perhaps fall outside MiCA's scope altogether. Getting that clarity is crucial for the project's legal future.
Okay, regulatory hurdles are huge. What else?
Well, back to your point about liquidity. Even within that closed Hyperclub loop, there's risk. While we agree low liquidity might be intentional before the auction, Ferrari still needs to convince those 100 clients that the token itself holds some tangible value beyond just being the key.
Right. If the trading mechanism is clunky, or if that 2027 auction gets delayed.
Exactly. The perceived value of holding the token could drop fast, which leads into execution risk.
That long timeline again. 3 years is a long time in tech, and especially in crypto.
We've seen countless Web3 projects announced with fanfare, but they stumble on the technical execution or management changes priorities. Since the auction isn't until 2027, this project is definitely still, in the pipeline. We need transparency on their progress, the milestones between now and then.
Fair point. And the final risk.
It comes back to the connection between the token and the car. Let's call it asset backing clarity. We need absolute clarity, probably in the legal documents, about what owning the token actually represents. Is it a legally binding right related to the auction or the car? Or is it just a technical access code with no deeper legal standing?
I see. If that connection isn't rock solid,
then the whole thing risks being seen as just speculative hype,
yeah.
Especially if people start trading the token based on guesses about the future value of the 499p itself without a clear legal link. That could get messy.
Okay, so we've mapped out the potential, the blueprint idea, and the significant risks. For you, the listener, wanting to follow this unfolding story, what are the key things to watch? Where should we focus our attention over the next couple of years?
Definitely start with the fine print, number one. Keep an eye out for the official token white paper or prospectus whenever that drops. That document should define the specific rights. Is it just auction access? Does it grant any rights if the car is resold later? Maybe fractional ownership hints? The legal classification hinges on those details.
Good point. What's next?
The tech infrastructure. We still don't know which blockchain they'll use. Will it be a public one, like Ethereum?
Yeah.
Or maybe a private permission chain built just for this? That choice affects governance, security, maybe future integrations.
Okay, white paper, blockchain choice. What else?
The auction mechanics themselves. We need the nitty-gritty details on the 2027 timeline. What are the exact rules for token holders? Can someone buy a token from another member right before the auction and participate? How will that secondary trading within the Hyperclub actually work?
Right, the rules of the game.
And don't forget the lawyers and regulators. Watch for any official filings. Will Ferrari or Conio register this token under MiCA in the EU? Will they seek clarification in other major markets like the US or UK?
That would signal their long-term intentions, wouldn't it? Compliance versus just a limited access tool.
Precisely. It shows how seriously they're taking the global regulatory landscape. And finally, just observe the market reaction over time. How does the mainstream crypto world talk about this versus, say, luxury market analysts?
Contrasting the hype cycles.
Yeah. If crypto treats it as just another speculative token, while the luxury world embraces it as the new benchmark for exclusivity, that divergence tells us a lot about where RWA tokenization is actually heading.
Okay, great points to track. Ultimately, this Ferrari move, it really feels like one of the most high-profile, concrete examples of asset tokenization we've seen. Using crypto tech not just for payments, but as this programmable, super exclusive key to unlock access to, well, arguably one of the rarest physical assets out there. Now, before we wrap up and leave you to think about all this, just a quick note. If you found this deep dive into Ferrari's strategy useful, if you learned something, we'd really appreciate if you could like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment. Your engagement honestly makes a huge difference. It helps support us, boosts visibility, and lets us keep making more deep dives like this one, focusing on the real substance in the crypto space. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And that actually leads nicely into a final thought, something for you to consider. If Ferrari is proving that exclusivity itself can be programmed onto a blockchain, what level of risk are you comfortable with for tokens tied to physical multi-million-dollar assets like this race car compared to tokens that are purely digital creations? This whole Ferrari model suggests that asset tokenization might be fundamentally redefining what luxury access even means. It seems like scarcity, now potentially backed by blockchain, is cementing its place as the ultimate status symbol in both the physical and digital realms.